Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and it's time to talk about some more tier shifts. Of course, back in July, I talked about some of the tier shifts, and a lot of people seem to really like it. So I'm going to talk about some of these tier shifts that happened for October, what I think about them, and the reason why I think some of them have shifted. First ones we're going to look at are the ones that have risen out of the UU ban list, which, for all intents and purposes, UU ban list, these Pokemon basically are OU already. The fact that they went into OU just means that their usage has went up. Um, so yeah, these Pokemon are Victini and Blacephalon. Looking at Victini first, this thing's balanced in its stats, 100 across the board. So you can run different, like you can go physical or special on the attacking stat, which can really throw your opponent off. And it does get good moves on both sides. It gets Glaciate, Bolt Strike, V Create, U Turn. That's what it suggested. So you can run like a mixed set, kind of like this, where Glaciate is there just for hitting things that would have better defense. Um, but yeah, it also can run with heavy duty boots, which is really nice for a fire type. Victory Star is a cool ability. It helps boost some of these not 100% accurate moves. But yeah, Psychic Fire is really cool typing. That actually helps you out quite a bit. And looking at some of the Pokemon that it's facing to see like why it's risen in the way that it has, we can see Corviknight is one that catches my eye. You can see that with both of these moves, V-Create and Bolt Strike, it has something for Corviknight. There's quite a few things up here, though, that kind of slow it down. Dragapult, Heatran, and Garchomp can really give it some trouble. But for the Dragon types, that's why you have Glaciate, which is really nice to help out. Um, Landorus, even though Landorus is pretty scary, and with that Intimidate, it's going to lower this thing's attack. It still doesn't want to take a Glaciate because of that special attack that you can go off of. And if you can hit a Landorus with V-Create, it still could do good damage. So yeah, looking at some of these Pokemon, Victini does really well up here. Next up, we'll look at Blacephalon, um, which is a really cool Pokemon too. It's got a cool typing, Fire Ghost. Um, it's got really great stats too. Really high special attack. Surprisingly high attack too. Most people go with that special attack just because it's 151. You're not going to ignore a 151 special attack. But yeah, looking at some of the things it can do, see Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Overheat, and Trick. That Trick's just in case someone sends out their specially defensive Mon, which in this case would probably be this Clefable. So you can trick the Clefable and make it stuck with a choice item. But it can do really well on these top Pokemon. For those that resist fire, you have Shadow Ball there to help you out. And Overheat's kind of a a big, big gung-ho move where you just try to do as much damage as you can, even though it lower your special attack. And if you can get things going on a roll, you don't really have to worry about that because this thing has Beast Boost. So if you knock out, say you knock out this Corviknight with a fire type move, well, you just got a +1. So eventually when you do have to use Overheat, it's not going to hurt you that much. Next, we're going to look at some of these that have lifted up out of underused into OU. That's going to be Buzzwole and Pelipper. Buzzwole's a cool Pokemon too. This is one of those that I used to not use that often, but when I used it for the first time, I was like, wow, this thing's great. This is Heracross, but better. This thing has really good defense and really good attack. So if you can bring it in on a physical move, more than likely you're going to be able to live it. You still have to watch out for flying type moves, however. But you can see its moveset, Close Combat, Ice Punch, Roost, and Leech Life, also sometimes Thunder Punch, but that's probably for the Corviknight. But Ice Punch is obviously for the Lando. There's quite a few dragons up here with Dragapult, Garchomp. So putting Ice Punch on there, that's going to help you out in handling those. And Boost helps out here too because that Intimidate's going to be annoying. But if you can hit it with an Ice Punch, knock it out, it basically doesn't matter if you get intimidated. A lot of people put Rocky Helmet, some people put Heavy Duty Boots. I do like Heavy Duty Boots because it really helps the viability of some of these Pokemon that were used to be terrified of Stealth Rocks. But Heavy Duty Boots are such a great addition to any Pokemon that has trouble with rocks. And Rocky Helmet, since this thing has high defense, you can jump in there, take a hit, and do a little bit of residual damage back. But yeah, you see quite a few things that it can handle. Close Combat helps out with Ferrothorn and Weavile. You got to watch out for Ferrothorn, though, because of its ability. But there's quite a few things that it can handle. It can even Close Combat a Heatran, which isn't the best matchup because Heatran can go for a special fire move and completely destroy Buzzwole. But if you get the jump on it, you might be able to take Heatran out. But I do like Ice Punch on this thing because it helps against the Lando and the Garchomp. Next up is Pelipper. And I'm going to kind of rope Pelipper in with Barraskewda, which is the next one that we were going to look at, with the RU to OU, because that's actually that's a quick jump to happen right there. These two have someone has figured something out that these two do well with, and it jumped up high. And I think I know the answer right off the bat with Barraskewda, and its answer is right here with Pelipper. So let's look at Pelipper. Pelipper is one of those Pokemon that specifically have a specific role that it can take advantage of, and that is this Drizzle with Damp Rock. You can get the rain going, so you're not going to be using this thing because of its stats or its typing. You're going to be using it for its rain, and you kind of see that here with its moveset. You know, Scald. It's not most of the time if you see Scald on a Pokemon instead of something like Surf or Hydro Pump, it's because it's more of a defensive water type. But with that, you could burn. Hurricane gets a boost, 100% accuracy in rain, so that's really helpful. Roost to heal up. You turn to Pivot and Defog to eliminate rocks on your side. And this thing does work very well as a defogger. I've used it before, and it's really great. But the thing what I think brought it up to OU is that rain, and that's pretty obvious. No one's going to be using it with these stats unless they brought Drizzle too. But yeah, you can see rain is a really cool thing to have up here. It helps out against that Heatran. If you hit water onto Landorus, it helps out too. And there's some Pokemon that would love to be in rain, which probably also helps, you know, this thing hopping up here, like the Rapid Strike Urshifu, Kartana, Melmetal. Those Pokemon like to have rain going on. I'm actually glad to see you Dragonite up here so high. But Magnezone also likes rain. You can throw a Thunder and you can dampen Fire-type moves. Rillaboom enjoys rain because it dampens the Fire-type moves. Tapu Koko can get a nice Thunder on things. So yeah, you see quite a few Pokemon up here that do like rain. Here's Caesar, my favorite Mega. We don't have Megas here, but one of my favorite Bug Steel types are up here, and you can see Pelipper right below it. So Pelipper and Caesar really helping each other out. And you can, I don't know if you noticed, but you can actually see that Pelipper's usage is above Blacephalon and Victini's, meaning that the jump that this had to take was even more of a jump than these two. But yeah, I think one of the reasons why Barraskewda has jumped so high is because of Pelipper jumping too. Because if Pelipper wasn't there in OU, this thing wouldn't have jumped the way it has. So yeah, Barraskewda, let's look at Barraskewda real quick. This thing has a 123 attack, 136 speed, so that's really fast and it hits really hard. But with that ability, Swift Swim, it makes you even faster, which you need that sort of speed because your defenses aren't going to live anything. So with this, you know, you're not going to be taking that many hits, but you're going to be doing tons of damage, especially with the Choice Band. This is a really cool moveset, Liquidation for Stab. We also have Flip Turn to Pivot, Aqua Jet for priority, just in case, you know, someone's faster than you or they have their own priority. And I do like Close Combat for coverage, and Psychic Fangs also. So yeah, this is a really cool moveset. I really love Barraskewda. It can do a lot. And especially, you know, having Pelipper nearby, it actually helps out a lot too. Next up is the Ninetales. We'll glance at Ninetales real quick. But yeah, Ninetales is a Pokemon that I'm actually surprised it wasn't an OU sooner, just because Auroraville is such a great thing to have with a Pokemon because it helps out against special and physical hits. So I'm surprised that, you know, it took it so long to be seen as that. But I guess there's a lot of competition weather-wise. And with the speed stat, you know, compared to Pelipper speed stat, if they were both out on the first turn, Rain will activate. But if that's the case, you do have Freeze Dry, which actually will do quite a bit of damage to Pelipper. We can actually type it in. And just typing everything. OU Auroraville versus Pelipper. Let's say OU defensive. You can see Freeze Dry will one-hit KO it in most cases. Of course, if it's got more special defense, you know, the answer will be a little bit different. But most of the time, as you can see, it suggests the 8 special defense because that's how most people are running it. Most of the time, your Ninetales will be able to one-shot Pelipper, and that's going to be great because if you can get rid of Pelipper, that means that you're going to have the weather in your favor the rest of the game. So if that's the case, then you've basically got Auroraville going. You also can put Hell on it just in cases where, you know, someone else has their weather Pokemon come out. You can just go ahead and throw up Hell yourself, or you can go for a Hypnosis, which is really cool. Or Encore. These two are really situational. Most of the time, this Ninetales is going to be going for an Auroraville and trying to set stuff up. Next up, we're going to look at Diggersby. Not as much of a jump as, you know, these Pokemon, but still from RUBL to UU. So let's go ahead and look at Diggersby. See what it has going for it. I do like its typing, Normal Ground. That's a very unique typing, and it helps out. It makes it where you're immune to Ghost and Electric, which having 2 immunities are great. As stats-wise, looking at this, you might think, oh, that's not much to look at, but it does have this ability called Huge Power, which doubles this attack, so it makes it where it could actually be a threat, and you can also give it Swords Dance, so you're going to boost that attack even more. Every other stat on this thing is kind of sad, but that attack stat, if it's boosted, it can actually do a lot, and it's got really good typing with Normal Ground. That means Earthquake's going to be stab, and Earthquake is one of the best moves in Pokemon. Quick Attack's also really cool because that gives you some priority, and you can see here the suggested moveset contains a Silk Scarf, which will actually boost that Quick Attack. So yeah, this is actually a really cool set. You can also run Spikes on it, U-Turn, Body Slam. So it does get some good options, but most of the time you're probably going to be trying to go for that Earthquake with this thing. And we're going to see what else is in UU that does not want to take an Earthquake. And right off the bat, Aegislash is the #1 Pokemon here. Jirachi, neither of those want to take an Earthquake. And also Body Slam, the things that, you know, could take an Earthquake, they don't really want to get paralyzed by a Body Slam. So Crocodile, Salamence, Kuma-Oh. These Pokemon kind of rely on their speed. Crocodile, depending on what set you're running. I like the Moxie set, which would, you know, rely on its speed. But if you're doing more of a defensive Crocodile, it's not that much of a problem being paralyzed. It's still annoying, but it's not going to be as bad if you're running an offensive Crocodile. But yeah, you can see there that this thing does have some nice options, but its stats are pretty low. Next up is going to be Seismitoad. I love Seismitoad. And let's go ahead and look at Seismitoad. This thing's a great Pokemon. Kind of like Crocodile, you can run defensive or offensive. This one you can do the same. Right here, the two sets are the defensive Stealth Rocker or the offensive Rain Sweeper. So that gives you 2 really nice options that you can go with. And we'll look at what other Pokemon are floating around UU that it could, do really well with. And kind of like Diggersby, a lot of the Pokemon that it can do well against are weak to ground, and there's quite a few up here that are. So yeah, that really helps out. You can see Pelipper actually still in the UU stats because this is taking from like the last few months when Pelipper was in UU. So I think that's also another reason why Seismitoad was up here, because Pelipper was so great up here. And Seismitoad really likes having that rain for its Rain Sweeper set. So I think the unfortunate thing is Seismitoad might not stick up here that long just because its buddy Pelipper is now gone. As soon as it joined the chat, Pelipper left the chat. But with that, I do think it still could do stuff. You do have that defensive set, which, helps out against things like Thundurus. This thing is really hard to take down by electric types. But Seismitoad, unfortunately, is probably going to end up not being up here very long. I still can do stuff. It's just the Pokemon I feel like helped pull it up here is now up here. Next Pokemon is going to be Lucario, NUBL to RU. So we're going to take a look at our buddy Lucario. This is a great Pokemon, fighting steel, good stats all around. Most people run for that physical set, and that's because it does have, I feel like that physical set is better than its special set. Lucario is interesting that you can have a special attacking set with stuff like Aura Sphere and yeah, stuff like that. But the attacking set is probably more consistent because of the moveset. Close Combat's great. Meteor Mash actually can boost your attack. Swords Dance can help you do a lot of damage if you get that going. And Extreme Speed is a great priority. And of course, you could have Vacuum Wave as your priority, but Extreme Speed is way better because of that power output. Plus, if you get a Swords Dance, that's even great. So yeah, looking at RU, what is it up here fighting? Togekiss does not want to take a Meteor Mash that much. Crobat would have some trouble with it unless you're running Heat Wave. Depends on the Crobat set, really. Umbreon has trouble with it. Glancing down, we also see Cobalion, who does not want to take a fighting type move. I feel like Cobalion, though, could take a fighting type move better than Lucario could, because Cobalion's got a little bit more defense. So there are some things up here, like the Weezing. There's some things that, Lucario can do well against. But you got to watch out, because there's a lot of things that can do well against Lucario. Sort of like Flygon can, Earthquake pretty well. And I feel like a lot of Lucario's rise is that Extreme Speed helping out in sticky situations. Because some of these Pokemon easily handle Lucario. Like Seismitoad probably, I feel like, could handle it pretty well. Depending on your Necrozma set, it could handle it decently. Incineroar is kind of like it depends, really. If you're able to get the jump on Lucario with Incineroar, you're going to be doing better. If you get the Intimidate on it when it tries to go for a Steel-type move, that's going to help you out even more. And I think Weezing Galarian form does get Flamethrower. So with Lucario, you got to be careful. I mean, you are faster than a lot of these Pokemon. You still want to be careful with that thing. We're going to look at Celebi jumping from NU to RU. Celebi is a Pokemon that's kind of difficult to use. Its typing means it's weak to quite a few things. Psychic Grass is a really tough typing. You can see they're weak to Dark, Fire, Flying, Ghost, Ice, Poison. It's got a few weaknesses, and you don't want to take a U-turn at all. But it does have really nice balanced stats, so you can go Utility or Offensive, which is the two suggestions that it gives. You can also give it Heavy Duty Boots, I guess. You don't really have to, but it does help when you're trying to pivot as a utility mon. Natural Cure is great because if you get poisoned, paralyzed, stuff like that, you're going to be able to, just shake that off. It does get good moves like Recover. Psychic's probably its best thing. Leaf Storm, Trick, U-turn. This thing does get good moves, but it is difficult to use. You gotta be very careful if you're using this thing, because if you come in on something that has a way to to challenge you. Even U-turn, if you bring it in and your opponent decides to pivot, this thing's going down. Next up, we're going to look at the Pokemon that went from PU to NU, and the first one is going to be Passimian. Passimian's a really cool Pokemon. I love this Pokemon, I really do. It's got good speed, 80, and this tier is pretty decent. And 120 attack, which is actually a great attack stat. So this thing can do really good. Plus Defiant, you're going to get an attack boost if you bring it on, say, some sort of Intimidator. And let's see what Intimidators are up here. Is there any really big Intimidator? Arcanine, okay, well, that's all I have to see to know that there's Intimidations happening. A Tauros also, but Arcanine's pretty much always running it if it's a defensive set. I don't feel like you see Flash Fired as much as you see Intimidate Arcanine. But yeah, this is really, really good Pokemon. Close Combat, Knock Off, U-Turn, Rock Slide, Gunk Shot. You got something for everybody. And you can see here, even the Pokemon that normally could handle it don't want to handle it. Like Sylveon, if you throw a Gunk Shot at that thing, it's going down. Talonflame does not want to be hit with a Rock Slide at all. Rotom Mow does not like U-Turn, and it doesn't like Gunk Shot either. Let's see here. Yeah, so a lot of these Pokemon don't want to face it. Bronzong will be a little bit harder to face. That's probably where you're going to have to U-turn out because you don't really threaten Bronzong. Knockoff is really good, but once that item's gone, you're not doing much damage to Bronzong. And that's probably what the knockoff is for, to help out. Because Bronzong's more a defensive Pokemon, so it's going to rely on its leftovers or whatever item it's carrying. So if you can knock that off and do super effective damage, you're going to help yourself out quite a bit. So it's hard to tell based on the sprite. Well, that's going to be a Silvally still. And let's see here, Silvally still. Well, some of these Silvallis are, you know, they're all in different ranks, different tiers, which is really interesting. How, you know, just the type can decide where it ends up. But the ones that actually are tiered are really good typings, and Steel is one of the best types. But yeah, 95 stats across the board. And a lot of people use it for utility, it seems. So Defog's really good. Parting Shot, which helps you pivot. Flamethrower for coverage. And Multi-Attack, which changes its type based on what type your Silvally is. So that really is really great. And as you can see here, you know, we've got threats like Sylveon and Diancie hanging around in this top part. We got Bronzong and Rotom Mow that don't like the Flamethrower. So it really does help out. Defog will help out when this Bronzong tries to set stuff up on you, or the Mudsdale will try to set stuff up on you. So yeah, this thing can really do a lot up here with these Pokemon floating around. I do like Silvally still. We see from ZU to PU, Audino. Audino, I think is the actual. But you can see here a lot of people run Regenerator because this is a more defensive Pokemon. And looking at stats, it's not going to be offensive at all. This is a Wish Passer Pokemon, which is really great to have on your team, especially in these lower tiers. A lot of the Pokemon in the lower tiers don't have the power output to completely wipe out your Pokemon. So having a Wish Passer down here is really nice. You can Wish Protect or Wish and switch out. Knockoff is really good for utility, and Heal Bell will heal your Pokemon. Toxic is really good, and Encore can help you out trying to set stuff up. But yeah, this is a really cool Pokemon, normal type. It does have decent... These stats are decent down in this tier, which means it's going to be able to live hits. And I do think this is a cool Pokemon. Next up is Drampa. I used to call it Drampa, but I think Drampa is what most people call it. But this one does have really nice special attack stat, especially in this tier. And with that Berserk ability, you're going to raise your special attack with that when that HP goes down. So you're going to do a lot of damage. But it seems most of the sets don't use Berserk. They're going to use mostly Sap Sipper, it seems. So if you get hit with a grass type move, you're going to boost. And let's see if there's that many grass types down here. Sarina, okay, so I feel like Sarina's probably the big thing that people are using this to face down. Because that thing usually has the move Trop Kick, which is a really good move, and it's really spammable. But with Sap Sipper Drampa, you can actually come in, and that actually will boost its attack instead of special attack. But you see here, there's not that many moves taking advantage of that attack, because that attack's so low, so it don't matter. So you're really using Sap Sipper just to be annoying to Sarina. Cloud 9 is to eliminate weather. But there's not that many weather setters here. I mean, Sandaconda is really Sandaconda might be annoying enough to use Cloud 9, but I feel like Sap Sipper is actually going to be more useful in this tier. Yeah, you can see a Defog set with Roost. That way you can work on its defensiveness, and they even suggest speed, which that speed's really low, so they're calcing for something. They're calcing to outspeed a specific thing down here in PU, and it might actually be that Sarina, I don't know. Alright, so the next Pokemon is going to be Jellicent. I've used Jellicent before, and it's a pretty decent Pokemon. It's got really good bulk to it. It's really good specially defensive, especially in a tier like this. Not much is going to be able to take out your Jellicent. And that typing is really cool too. I do like the water ghost typing. That's like a really unique typing that you don't see very often. Let's see here. A lot of people use it as a defensive utility. Recover, Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, and Hex. That Hex will get a boost on a Pokemon that you've burnt or that you have poisoned. So yeah, this is really cool. Taunt. That's going to make it where they can't go for status moves. And that's going to help out against Pokemon that are trying to set stuff up. But you can see here, a lot of people run Colbur Berry because knockoff is such a terrible thing for it. And there, as you see, there's a few that could run knockoff like Sarina, Passimian. Yeah, so you don't want to get hit with a knockoff on this thing. And that's even why some people don't even put an item on it. But if you're using it as a utility and you're switching out a lot, heavy duty boots are nice to have. Next up is Ferroseed. Not Ferrothorn, but Ferroseed. And it's actually went from Little Cup to PU. That means that before, you know, people didn't see it as a Pokemon to use that often. It was just seen as like a Little Cup Pokemon. Now they've realized that it's so good that that they're actually putting it on their team alongside fully evolved Pokemon. And looking at its stats, this would not be an OU Pokemon at all. Ferrothorn takes care of a lot of what you'd want with this. But down in the lower tiers where you don't have Ferrothorn, going with Ferroseed actually does make a lot of sense because it does the same things that Ferrothorn does, just with lower stats. But yeah, you got defensive set with Gyro Ball, Leech Seed, Protect, and Gyro Ball will probably be a little bit more damaging on this than it would from Ferrothorn just because it's got half of the speed. But yeah, you got nice defense and special defense where down in the lower tiers you don't need Ferrothorn levels to take hits. You can run Ferroseed levels and actually take hits. And this really does help out against some of these Pokemon like Jellicent here. I've faced this thing in lower tiers, and it's really hard to take down. So you specifically need like a fire type, and then you can see Charizard's the #1. Weezing can run Flamethrower, but yeah, Ferroseed can actually handle a lot of threats down here, like Sarina, Gigalith, Lantern as well. So Ferroseed's a great Pokemon, and I'm glad to see a Little Cup Pokemon actually make its way up the tier. Next up, what we're going to look at are Pokemon that have dropped. These Pokemon were in a specific tier, and something happened that made them drop. Some of them more drastically than others. But yeah, you see a lot have fallen out of OU, really. And we're going to see if we can figure out why that happened. The first one is Hawlucha, and Hawlucha is a great Pokemon. It does have really good speed stats. I mean, it's kind of still practically an OU Pokemon just because you can't use this thing in lower tiers lower than OU. But, you know, its usage has dropped enough where it's not included in the roster of OU Pokemon. But it does have great speed, and it has decent attack as well. Acrobatics is really helpful, though, because you kind of need acrobatics to do the kind of damage that you want. And Grassy Seed is great. Electric Seed. In the OU tier, you've got your Grass Setter with Rillaboom and Electric Setter with Tapu Koko. So having these two items, that helps out your Unburden, which will boost your speed, which is already great. But with the boosted speed, nothing's going to outspeed you. And then Acrobatics is really great because without your item, you're going to be doing a lot more damage. And Swords Dance will help you out in this attack stat area. So if you can get a Swords Dance, and then, you know, you've already got a defense boost with one of these, which actually will help you out. It's actually really great getting that defense boost, even though, you know, it's not the greatest defensive Pokemon. Getting the defense boost will actually help you out with your ability to do a Swords Dance, and you can even go Taunt to prevent your opponent from, you know, going for some sort of status move that will prevent that. But what you'll do is you'll go in, get that nice boost, Swords Dance. You've already lost your item, so you're faster, and Acrobatics will do double damage. Close Combat will be for coverage if you're facing like a Steel type. You can Close Combat and do a lot of damage. But let's see if we can figure out why this really great Pokemon that I just explained has fallen out of OU. I think the big thing is Landorus. This thing is a scary Pokemon. It's got Intimidate, so it's going to really hurt your chances. And you've got quite a few special attackers up here. Dragapult, Heatran. Dragapult's kind of either or, but I see more people use it as a special attacker. But Heatran's up here. You can try to go for this, and you could just, you know, try to Close Combat a Heatran, but it's got enough bulk that it will live. Corviknight, there's not much that you can do against Corviknight looking at it. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of trouble up here in this tier facing some of these Pokemon, and it just was too much for Hawlucha, and it has fallen. Next up, we're looking at the Pokemon that have fallen into UU. So this one, you can't use it in UU, but these 6 guys you can use down here now. First one is Excadrill. This is a great Pokemon too. The crazy thing is this used to be an Uber Pokemon back in Gen 5, and now it's down here in the lower tiers wreaking havoc. But yeah, Swords Dance is great. You can have a Sandrush. I do like Sandrush. Excadrill. And I mean, looking down here, I'm sure if you look through here, you'll find some Sand Setter. But or something that could set sand. But yeah, if you're running this thing, you kind of want, if you're running it with Sandrush, you want something like a Hippowdon, and I don't know where Hippowdon is right now. Hippowdon. Oh, that's an OU. I know Tyranitar is an OU. That thing just lives up there. So I don't know what exactly you're going to use to set the sand. So that might be... That's anything goes anyway, so yeah, Sandrush still the most popular. But I do like having a utility set. I do like Mold Breaker a little bit more. Mold Breaker is great because with Mold Breaker, you're going to be able to hit things that are trying to levitate. And I don't see any... Rotom Heat right here. That thing... And Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash has got really high usage down here. So if you've got Mold Breaker, you're going to Earthquake and do a lot of damage. But you can also set stuff up with rocks, Toxic, Swords Dance to help your Earthquake do more damage. So yeah, this is a great Pokemon. It's got really great attack. Sandrush helps that speed a lot, and it does have good HP. Its defenses are on the lower side. But yeah, this thing has a great typing too. Ground and Steel is actually a great typing. Ground is one of the best typings. Next up is Hydreigon. If I remember right, this thing used to be in Ubers too in Gen 5. So the Gen 5 Uber brothers are down here. Don't quote me on that. I can actually... Oh, it's an OU. It might have at one time been an Ubers. Um, but yeah, this thing does quite a few things. You just have to watch out. But now that it's in UU, and we'll see some of the things it could handle, like Aegislash. This thing just devours Aegislash. Dark Pulse, Earth Power, Flash Cannon, and Roost. Roost will help your survivability. Dark Pulse is probably your go-to. I also see a Nasty Plot set a lot. So you're going to set up that special attack and do a lot more damage. And this thing already has good special attack. So imagine, you know, multiplying that by 2. That's going to just destroy almost everything. And you've got nice coverage with like Earth Power, Roost to heal up because you'll probably need that. This thing doesn't have the best survivability, but you know, you can see here it's got decent enough defense stats that it should be able to take a hit. Now you gotta watch out because if there is a fairy type move, it will knock you down, which there's not that many fairy types. I mean, Primarina's right here, but there's really not that many fairy types sitting here on the top. So this thing can do quite a bit of damage. You can Dark Pulse Aegislash Jirachi really well. You gotta watch out for Chansey. Chansey is one of those Pokemon that any special attacker will not be able to break through it. So you gotta watch out for that. But overall, this thing can do a lot for you. Next up is Mandibuzz. I said Vullaby. Mandibuzz is a really good defensive Pokemon. I actually use this thing at one time. It can take a lot of hits. And you do have Roost as well. Seems like the most common set is the defensive set. So, you know, Foul Play. Which, Foul Play, you don't need to worry about your own attack. You worry about your opponent's attack at that point. Which is the best real option if you're wanting to use this thing. And you need to go for an attack. Defog will, you know, clear the board of hazards. Roost to heal up. Knock Off is a good utility move. And U-Turn will help you switch out. So yeah, this thing does quite a few things really well. And down here, you know, there's a lot of Pokemon that have trouble hitting it, like Aegislash, Crocodile. You do have to watch out for Rock-type moves, but if you end up accidentally switching in on a Stone Edge, you should be able to take one. But yeah, this thing can do a lot down here. It seems like the Dark types jumping down to UU actually do quite a bit. Next up is Skarmory. Skarmory being the sad older brother to Corviknight, because it's kind of lost a lot of its usage because of how good Corviknight is. We can compare it to Corviknight. But you see there, it's got really good defense, and that's really its best stat at all. Comparing that to Corviknight, who's got, you know, good defense, but it has a decent special defense. But, you know, Corviknight's got more utility options, it seems. So, I mean, we can go back to Skarmory. But yeah, see, Corviknight has a little bit better special defense, too, which helps out. This thing does have better defense. And let me glance at that HP stat that Corviknight brings. Yeah, Corviknight does have way, way better HP stat, which actually I feel like is probably one of the other options that helps it out. But, you know, Body Press on Corviknight is great, too, because that gives you some better offensive pressure. Whereas, you know, here you don't really have... well, you do have Body Press, but, you know... Yeah, you do have Body Press. I wonder why Skarmory is so low compared to Corviknight. It's got to be its ability, then. Sturdy's great, but Corviknight, you know, with Mirror Armor, you're going to... Oh, not that. Yeah, Mirror Armor. Is that the most common set? No, it's Pressure, so I guess Pressure... I guess in terms of defensive Pokemon, Pressure is way more useful than Sturdy. It might be other things too, but I feel like looking at it though, I feel like I like Skarmory a little bit more than Corviknight because it's got that better defense. Of course, Corviknight does have better survivability on special side. But with that defense and you hitting a Body Press, you're going to be doing more damage. But yeah, Spikes, you can set stuff up. Iron Defense, that would help out your Body Press. and Roost. So you do want to watch out for, special moves on this thing, because it's not going to live special moves hardly at all. Especially fire and electric type moves. Those will cut through this thing like knife through a butter. Slowking has dropped too. Slowking's a Pokemon that I love too, because it's got really good special defense. And we can see the most common set here: Scald, Future Sight, Slack Off, and Teleport. And I do like that set, because with Slack Off, what you can do is you can heal up. Scald, you can hopefully burn the opponent. Teleport is a really nice pivot. It's a slow pivot, which is really great to have on a team. A lot of people, look at fast pivots, but with a slow pivot, you kind of keep the momentum in your favor, because your opponent hits your slower Pokemon, and then you switch out. And with Regenerate, you're going to be healing yourself up anyway. So, but with Future Sight, well, the cool thing about that is that can help you keep a little bit of pressure on your opponent. So if you go for a Future Sight and then go for a Teleport, your opponent might, switch into something to take the Future Sight, but once you teleport out, you can bring in something that will threaten that specially defensive Pokemon they just brought in. So yeah, I love Slowking. And we can see here in UU what it'll do. It kind of has some trouble though, because the top 2 Pokemon down here do a lot of damage to it. And then Amoonguss, it can do some damage. Of course, having Future Sight, Amoonguss is going to have a tough time down here now, because you can't just willingly switch into Amoonguss. But yes, this thing has taken a drop down here, and I think it could do some stuff, but you still have to watch out for, Aegislash and Crocodile. And as you can see, this thing has terrible defense too, so yeah, you gotta watch out for that. Next up is Swampert. Now, I'm actually surprised Swampert has fallen, because I've actually gotten to where I use this thing almost all the time, because of how good it is defensively and that nice flip turn that it has now. Oh, that's National Dex. Let's see. Yeah, so that nice flip turn. Most of the time, and this is how I use it as a defensive pivot. So I send it out there just to set up rocks and then flip turn out. Of course, I don't think I put Earthquake on mine. I have Protect just for leftover recovery. But yeah, I feel like Earthquake is really... Actually, I do have Earthquake, that's right. It's Toxic that I don't have. But yeah, as a defensive Pokemon, this thing is great, because it's got really good HP. It's got decent defense and special defense. So you can take quite a few hits. But I'm surprised that it's fallen, because, it does really well against Lando. You can just flip turn out on that thing. Heatran can't really touch it very easily. Ferrothorn is probably the big thing that happened to it, because if Swampert's facing down a Ferrothorn, Ferrothorn wins all the time. There's no way that, this thing can even touch Ferrothorn. So I feel like that's probably the big thing that's made this thing drop the way it has. But yeah, it can actually do really well against that Aegislash, against that Crocodile. It probably eventually will probably have Ice Punch on it just for Salamence. It helps out against Jirachi. Amoonguss is sitting here, though, looking kind of scary. And Celesteela also gets moves like Energy Ball. So I feel like Swampert's going to have a little bit of trouble here in UU, its new home. But it does have some things that it can handle decently well, like the Rotom Wash. I feel like Keldeo it can handle pretty decently, too. And Thundurus. Of course, Thundurus isn't going to be touching this thing very well. Next up is Grimmsnarl. This is a Pokemon I've always wanted to really use, but it's like... It's very niche in how it's used. It's a dull screener most of the time, and that's because of that Prankster ability. It's going to be able to set up those screens quickly. And if you've given it the Light Clay, you're going to be able to keep those up a little bit longer. But it's not very well defensive as a Pokemon. It's got really low defense stats. It does have good HP, but that's not going to help it out. It's got really good attack, but with its ability and its moveset, you're wanting to use it as a support Pokemon. So I feel like this thing's a very tricky Pokemon to use, because it's not made to live hits, but its moveset is set in a way for a Pokemon that does want to live hits. But now it's down in RU, I mean. It does well against Flygon. But yeah, a lot of things down here has its number. Like Metagross, it doesn't do much against Metagross. Metagross can easily smack it with a bullet punch. I think it still gets. It doesn't get bullet punch, does it? I think it does. I don't remember what Metagross carries. I know it has Meteor Mash, so it'll probably smack it down with that. Togekiss Moonblast it. Crobat could go for a poison type move. Does well against Umbreon. And it could do well against Flygon. Flygon would probably have a Steel type move on it or something. But it's mostly to set stuff up, and you're going to have to be very careful because it's really tricky. Next up is Doublade, and I've used Doublade in lower tiers before. It's a really good Pokemon. It has fallen though, which I guess let's see here. Let's see if we can look in RU and see why it's fallen. It's probably that Flygon that's really knocked it down, because an Earthquake is bad. Plus, Xurkitree. The thing about Doublade is it's got wonderful defense. But that special defense is so terrible that even a fire type sneeze on it is going to knock it out. So there's a lot of things in here that can easily take it out. Like Crobat going for a Heat Wave. Togekiss. I think Togekiss actually gets... Does Togekiss get a fire type move now? I don't remember. But a lot of these Pokemon have something it can do. Incineroar right here... There's nothing really I don't think this can do to Incineroar. I mean, it could close combat, but it's got to live a hit. And it's going to have a defense drop too. So yeah, this thing can, down in RU, or in you now where its new home is, it can actually do really well against Bronzong. You got to watch out for Talonflame, though. It does well against Sylveon. You just got to watch out. I think Sylveon gets Mystic Fire. So there's a lot of things here you got to watch out for if you're wanting to run Doublade. But there's some things that it can do very well, like Diancie and Bronzong. They would have a hard time touching this thing. Next up is Regidrago. Well, it's sad to see this thing has fallen so much. It used to be, like, pretty decent. And I can see... There's been an update since, you know, this tier has shifted. Because this thing is now an NUBL. But looking at its stats, you know, it's got really good HP. Unfortunately, its defenses aren't made to reflect that great HP. And it does have decent attacks. So you can run a physical or a special set. You can see here, both of these are physical sets. So I guess there's a reason, maybe? We'll look at it and see. So yeah, Dragon Dance plus Scale Shot. Scale Shot will boost your speed, which is nice to have. Outrage gives you that more power, though. Thunder Fang, which is sad that you're running Fang-type moves for this thing. But that can actually do really well, too. And you can see here, there's quite a few things it would have been able to handle. Like Thunder Fang would take care of Talonflame. Not a lot of things really want to take an Outrage. Bronzong would be able to. Sylveon doesn't care. Diancie doesn't care. But some of these Pokemon, they don't want to take a Dragon Dance boosted Outrage. So it could actually do a lot of damage. But yeah, this thing's already banned from here. So RIP Regidrago has already lost its ability to shine in NU. Next up is Snorlax. And Snorlax is a great Pokemon. Let's look at that. Oh, this has already been banned too, so yeah, a lot of things have happened since we last looked. But yeah, this is already banned. But looking at stats, it's great stats. Great HP, great special defense, great attack. This is a great Pokemon. There's a reason why in Gold and Silver this was the #1 Pokemon, because it was so... So this is literally a great Pokemon, and I'm sad to see it way down here in NUBL. But yeah, Curse, Body Slam, Earthquake, Rest. This is a great Pokemon, though. Let's see here. It can do quite a bit. It would have been able to do quite a bit here in NU. Bronzong has trouble hitting it. It kind of has trouble hitting Bronzong back, though. But yeah, it could take a lot of hits from a lot of these Pokemon. So yeah, I'm actually sad to see that Snorlax won't get to shine. But anyway, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. subscribe, and I will see you in the next Pokemon video.